really been worse if they had also lost that smite to Owner, which was very close. So now you can't get map control, you can't actually start Baron yourself, you can't side lane, and you're just kind of waiting to lose objective fights. But you are going to take them, and you are going to hope that there's a mistake. You are going to hope you can catch somebody off guard, because that's your one way back into this game. Your only chance is T1 overextending on this Drake fight. But look at the setup they have here in mid, plus Sundis turret, plus Owner has his control ward.
Yeah. They group up as a team, mid-prio, they say, okay, middle of the map is ours, objectives are ours.
They've just basically, you could just cut off all of the blue side of the map. It doesn't exist anymore. They've halved the map.
Culling is in, trying to throw in some poke before they do, split off for a Drake.
They draw a line of wards, so HLE can't trade for Baron, can't do anything sneaky. Notice there is not one teleport ward for HLE. That's also been cleared away. They haven't been able to walk past the equator of the map here for a long time since that last Drake fight.
Oh, they're going to try to force Baron.
They're going to TP here to Baron. There is a control ward here, and the speed at which T1 does this, they should be able to rotate back over. Faker has TP, Zeus has TP.
Yeah,
when they see the ward, they're like, can we even do this? The answer is no.
Kingan's doing it by himself. I mean, Viper's clearing a lane in topside, like a wave in topside. They know this is happening. Absolutely. T1 just make their way over. Now, Keiria's kind of going off on a little tangent here on the left side.
Just wants to make sure he can stop anyone from flanking here. Baron at half health. This is when the fireworks hit.
Not really going to be too successful in that, actually. HLE just keeping this leash at the moment. Take a look at Klid's angle.
He's got flash.
They should know this is coming in the wall as well. Zeus is way in the back line, like so far back there. Faker goes down. They take out Viper, though, as a very messy fight. You see that Guma is able to get away somehow, as so many low health bars are here, and Zeus and Owner are just on the chase, as Guma will eventually be taken out, but so should Kingin, as now a 3-on-3 Zeka. The only one that really does damage out of these 6.
Yeah, and if he had Leandri's, he'd feel so much better about this type of scenario. But he couldn't build it in this game, and now he's just proccing lootings as he can, but won't be able to chase anybody down, won't be able to close this fight. As Klid wants to set up for this, but everybody's grouped, and they could just instantly turn on him. And he goes in, by the way, right as they collapse onto Viper. So this is the best timing you are ever gonna get as HLE, and it's still not good enough, as Guma outplays King in here and will survive for a very long time on the husk of this Azir turret. Does eventually get taken out by Zeka, but he played it so beautifully. The team kills the AD carry instantly, and Zeka can't do anything on his own. Now HLE, they are red side here. They're grouped up to try to set up for some big vision. And maybe we're going to go for one more song and dance here, because the team fight wasn't clean enough for T1 to actually take Baron and end the game. But this fight's going to be even harder. They will not have the Wukong flank. They will not have flash for Klid.
Yeah, the setup there from Halma was, as you're saying, it was the best they were going to get. Now T1 are going to get another turret here. They essentially just push down mid. They see Zeka's top. Zeka also has smite right now, so it's not teleport. It's not anything you can use to get in here right now. So yeah, it's going to clear that up. And to be honest, I thought T1 would have started this earlier, but just taking every precaution against Hama Life Esports. There are a lot of ways for Hama to get into the pit.
Just keep drawing lines across the map, making no man's lands. And it's taking them a while to actually start this Baron up, because they're looking for a pick now instead. No vision here. And HLE think better than walking into that brush. They're at least buying some time here for Zeka to farm. Small victories, as he wants that death cap so badly. Once he gets that, the damage will be real.
They don't know this is happening, but they do have a suspicion, of course. As the pings are in, they did place a control ward now, so they know this is happening as of now. And a bunch of soldiers over the wall just trying to not let them in, and they will pull off of this as Hama Life Esports get in position. And we go again.
We go again.
Run it back.
Every single time Zeka's given time in a side to get closer to this death cap, the chances of HLE winning this game go up slightly, right? Because we're buying time. I mentioned we go to the 15 minutes plus into this game.
Run it back.
Yeah, run it back. You get to the point where you get Draven up to 4 items. As Talia starts scaling, you can win 5v5 fights. As Klid's rushing over now. And we'll see this. Oh, he's caught by the Sonic Wave.
And this time he's basically alone. TP is coming in. Viper is over the wall.
And T1
clear out vision, and they do back away from this one.
T1 are like, I'm not giving a cash in over. I'm not going to lose a team fight right now. I'm not going to force this game, or I'm not going to throw this game off of a Baron we don't absolutely need right now. I'd rather fight around this next objective, the Drake that spawns in 1 minute, which will give us Cloud Soul. Zeus has a big spike now with his GA. But again, the way that Hunwife Esports has calmly handled this, grouped up fast enough, yeah, they had to use teleports, etc., but they keep getting in there and stopping T1. Stopping T1 is the first step of like 7 they will need, but it means they've got time. QSS is done for Viper now. It makes it a lot easier for him to team fight. And the death cap looks like it's so close to being done. You can see Zeka is like killing a Gromp right now.
He bought it, and then he sold it, and then he bought it again.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I don't know, should I buy this? He doesn't have cleanse, so it's kind of awkward against like a Flash Renekton Sun or obviously a Flash Crescendo.
Looking to see, I mean, Zeka so desperately needs that death cap. He's got to be so close. He's backing now. He's backing now.
Yeah. Stopwatch too.
Yeah.
And Hunwife, I mean, we're getting to the point of the game now where they might be able to force this.
Oh, yeah.
T1 go all in on the Drake.
So much damage here in this comp. Death cap is done.
Oh, fight, and that goes to Viper.
That's pretty huge. As Guma is going to take Cloud Soul right now, so there's a clock ticking against HLE. They really need to force this. With Weaver's Wall here, they have 2 smites.
They're missing critical information, Wolf.
Talia's going to see this too late.
Okay, well, we're going to stop them from pulling off as a TP from Faker down there?
Okay, now you really have to pull the trigger. You're not going to win that race. You're not going to win that Drake fight.
Well, now they absolutely will. Crescendo just thrown in as the rest of them, it feels like they're going to be in here too late, but they can't stop Owner from getting into the pit. At least that's what it looks like right now as he's got a Q onto the Baron. Will he be able to steal this? No, he will not as the Baron goes to Hunwife Esports. Zeus in there alone as a massive double knockup into the Cyclone Clid, and Kingen put 2 and 2 together, and they make it happen, and T1 are wiped entirely on the Baron.
Oh, HLE, a full wipe. A triple kill for Clid, and now they can just push mid. There are bounties on these structures right now. HLE are about to pick up so much money here, and a narrow win on the fight. So patient. No team has ever done this to T1. You do not pull this team from objective to objective, get teleports, stop Owner from coming in, and wipe this team. Nobody does this to T1, but HLE, they were so patient, and they pulled it off. This is huge. A full wipe and so much money here. And now they can push mid, pick up so much of that gold here, and their composition is starting to scale. The Talia has 3 items, has a death cap. Scimitar done for Viper, and Kingen winning that team fight so single-handedly. Has level 16 now, and man, this is anyone's game to take now, but I'm starting to lean towards HLE. Now consider that Cloud Soul is permanent. Unlike this Baron, it is still going to be very useful for T1, especially when we get the setups on that potential Elder here. But for the first time in a long time, HLE can breathe. They have map control.
Like you mentioned, it's really all about patience, right? Like waiting so many times to have your moments, and they finally did. I think T1 just over-indexed over to the Cloud Drake, and especially the second they saw the TP, they're like, well, it's 5v3, we could just take it. And it did take Clid getting a very nice smite in what was a flip, essentially. Definitely we could have seen Owner get in there and just steal it away and the rest of the team back away, but because they were already forced into that fight, they had to go in, and then they just got bopped on the head by Kingen. I mean, a 3-man knockup, it's not much you can do about that. It's now Zeus in a bit of trouble, can't really flash, as they're going in onto Zeka. The kick comes in from Owner. Zeka does survive for an incredibly long amount of time, and the damage from Viper is massive as the culling now from Guma. Faker goes in, they're gonna get the Draven as Viper stands up and nearly is able to just stand up to 4 members. And that's gonna be enough to stop T1 in their tracks.
Now, no ability here to grab a huge objective, so they get multiple kills here. It's 2 for 2. Across the board. HLE can't push any further. Their carries are down. Well, this is a really important team fight here for T1 because they stopped the Baron, and they should be able to wrestle back some map control before the Elder fight. It's initially Zeka who is caught here. The angle of the tidal wave from life from so far away is beautiful. Stopwatch has to be burned. And remember, there's no res here anymore on this Wukong. The last one was lost by Zeus previously, so Clid gets out, but he loses that critical tool, which is so important for this Wukong in these upcoming fights, especially on objectives like Elder, because you force things so much more comfortably when you have that.
Yeah.
Faker getting closer to his death cap, though, picking up some extra gold in this last exchange. And this game is crazy wild.
Yeah, you mentioned the tidal wave, but also the Cyclone out of Clid was huge for disengaging their, like, those layered ultimates are essentially what keep T1 out of, you know, just hounding them all down. And it keeps them alive. It gives Viper a chance, even when Faker goes crazy in that backline. And now we might just have a little bit of Elder versus Baron action, because they're both going to spawn at basically the same time. This is going to get interesting.
This is really going to get interesting. Remember last time HLE were able to pull T1 around. T1 got greedy trying to do everything. But I cannot stress enough. Like, this is the first time I can remember T1 has made a mistake like that this year and have been caught off guard by a team, actually kind of juggling the aggro, juggling the attention, vision control, and looking for a turn there. The Weaver's Wall really throwing them for a loop as well. They got the soul, but lost the subsequent team fight trying to get both. It's just not a mistake that T1 ever makes. We consider this team to be the best team in the world at decision-making on these critical objectives.
Viper desperate to finish his IE.
Yeah.
I think
that's
he's
what
got it.
He should
yeah,
be able to have it. Yeah, he does.
He uses Whirling Death on the wave just to make sure he has the item. And timing is important. Speaking
of timing, 90 seconds, 80 seconds here on these two objectives. We may just see this extended setup fight here starting like literally now, because this objective is going to be the game-deciding one. Grabbing Scuttle here, really important for T1, trying to get some bottom prio. Guma's pushing mid. The top lane, way less important, because the bottom lane is going to be good for both the Elder and the Baron. But with that inner's still up for both teams, there's no side lane pressure on an inhibitor here. When the Baron spawns, I think this fight is going to be all about the Elder Drake, because it's the more important objective of the two. And even though there is some vision here for T1 on the Baron, their focal point is definitely going to be bottom side of the map.
Definitely should be, especially with it spawning first. How about like esports though? Feel like they're on a better position right now, as Clid really getting a little bit sneaky in the enemy jungle too. Really trying to clear out vision, maybe drop some wards. He doesn't have any more control wards though, as Owner taking a couple axes to the face.
That Draven damage is so huge at this point. This is what I was talking about. If you do get to 4 items, the Draven is ready to pop off.
Faker now.
So much control.
He has the death cap as, yep, that's 1 axe, guys.
Yeah.
1.
Faker has no flash.
They do have some sustain from the Sona. T1, you know, they don't really have vision on this objective. Like, Hamalei Esports have just pushed them away.
Clid is on an unknown flank angle. They're searching for him.
He's in the pit now. As meanwhile, coming around the back here is Zeus. He's got a good angle.
Clid is Zeka wrapping around. A Weaver's Wall could cut T1 in half and win this game for HLE.
Could just be as the flash comes in. Kingan's going to find the front line. They're trying to burst down Faker as he doesn't have... Oh, he does right here at the end. And Clid should be the first one to go down. They just barely take him out as the GA here available for the side of Owner. Zeka's just flashing into 5 people trying to get the damage. Another 2-man knockup. Unbelievable as the divide comes in from Faker, but it's too little too late.
Viper's just doing too much damage. He's at full health. This should be the Elder for HLE. And man, what a fight between these two teams. T1, there's just no way they can win this anymore. They're going to actually back off and reset. The Drake it just has so much health. They actually aren't confident, even with this Draven, that they could rush it down. Crazy here. TP advantage. Faker barely gets his flash available. And look at this play here. Once again, Kingan to start things off. And then look at Clid. They have Tidal Wave, and then he's in here with the double Cyclone. He sacrifices himself here to make sure that there's enough space for Viper to actually get that work done. Once again, Viper not
doing this, and we got TP in the bottom lane. They can't force this.
No, I don't think so, but now they're trapped here. Guma, how do you get out of here alive?
He should be okay, but I'm wondering about this Elder Drake.
I mean, they're holding the aggro. Yeah.
And okay, we got Clid coming in. They got to wait for their jungler, as this is just going off the rails right now. Over the wall, everybody's just watching from the bleachers, RT1. And okay, let's see how it goes. The Q is in. We got a wall down. As will they be able to deny Owner? Yes, they will. They take him out. Just Kingan, as this guy is just insane today. He's a man on a mission, and that will be the Elder.
Now I just want to back away here and defend, and Baron is up. T1 are going to try to trade these objectives because they quote-unquote won the team fight as the wall went down, and HLE decided to focus the Elder while pushing the enemy jungler out, but Owner, of course, is alive and has his smite at the ready. Clid does have smite, no flash. He's over for this with the Draven.
Oh, can he do it again? Can he do it again? He
Oh,
does!
what?
He's in, and he gets it again!
Oh my god, Valdez, they get Exodia here! And how do you lose now? Clid, surviving as well, gets out. And HLE, they should be able to group and push down the mid lane. Unbelievable turn on this game. I thought we were maybe going to be in for a banger today, but I had no idea clearly what was going to happen. And
Yeah.
the amount of teamfight performances we're seeing from Kingen that are objective winning is just too high. Like, he is hitting these cues perfectly. He's pulling Owner out of the pit. He's going at the exact right time. He's so tanky. He built Anathema's chains, so he's taking so little damage here with this tank build. When his Jack Shows gets online, he's basically going to live through everything, all out or no. The all out is just so useful at setting up, pulling one of these carries into harm's way.
Gotta be careful about the poke damage, but with this wall coming down, King in a little bit of trouble. And Guma takes 2 axes and nearly dies. And they should be okay now with Exodia to continue pushing here. The damage is too much. I mean, even just one hit onto Faker could be it, and the Whirling Death is nearly that. Really on the axe's edge right now.
So hard to mess it up from here. One heroic play, T1 need to find one. Faker has Emperors.
This might be where you just got to throw it down. 30 seconds on Elder Buff. I don't think they've got enough time to wait through T1. Humble Life should just be able to slowly chip away.
Zea's looking for the flank here. When that Emperor's Divide comes down, you've got one chance, T1.
One chance and
15 seconds.
A dream, essentially. 12 seconds, the damage goes in. Owner gets the kick, but he's alone. Nobody can get in as Faker can't get over to the left. This game is over as Guma also will be chunked out. They want their KDA, and they deserve their KDA. They will have it now. HLE Esports will take game 1 in 40 minutes.
Unbelievable game, and one win away now from doing it again. HLE, the only team to defeat T1 this season.
Kingen is showing why he was World's MVP. Man.
Oh man,
what
that
an
was
insane game from this player.
Insane from Kingen. But T1 also played the early game so well. They had total control. They got the soul point very early. They had control over the map, which is one wrong call between that Drake and the Baron that really messed with T1. They were not able to get back control of the game from there. But they made it so hard, even still. The Elder fight was so difficult for HLE to win. They played it so perfectly with this Nami. They had the Tidal Wave and Cyclone there to protect the forward push there of Viper, so no one could kill him, no one could collapse on him. Faker goes down, that's the end of that fight. And then the one angle T1 happened for that, the additional Baron, the one more Baron. No, Clid says, I'm going to steal that, that's mine too.
Yeah.
Unbelievable game. And T1 were pushed to the brink, but so were Hanwha. That game looked so done. I said less than 5% chance to come back in this game against T1.
It's good you didn't bet your hair on it.
And they come back and do it. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, the gold lead was like 5K. They had total map control. Vision was shut down. It was very just standard T1 lead, right? And it just felt inevitable, but it was not. HLE Esports, they have the key, and they proved it again, at least in game 1. And it's going to make the series very interesting from here on out.
Yeah.
Do you believe that they can 2-0?
I mean, I think there's a chance. I think side selection is going to be an interesting conversation to have, though, as the priority pick of the Lucian didn't work out. You know, the later scaling there of the Draven really coming back to bite T1. I still think they'll pick blue side, but who knows, Valdez? This series is crazy already.
Who knows? I guess we can just sit back and wait and enjoy it and hope that we get 3 games. Either way, guys, we'll take a break and have the space. We'll be right back.
15초 장군 15초 해봐.
다음 보자 슬슬.
장군 15초야. 요번에 해야 돼.
그냥 먼저 걸어도 돼.
들어가자 이거. 요번에 가자. 타워 딜이랑. 리신 노플 받을게. 도현이 맞아.
타워 한
마무리
대만,
안
타워 한 대만. 쌈바.
나이스. 야, 다음 판 잘하자.
잘하자.
야, 내꺼 때려.
하네. 그래. 빡세긴 하네. 나이스.
잘했어. 좋았어.
잘했다. 다음 판 잘했어. 넥서스 터지고 많이 해도
Yesterday, I helped fight a giant snake, purple with 1,000 eyes and huge pointy teeth. Grr! But whoosh! Woo! My fire looked so scary, it rushed off into the jungle, never to be seen again. Pretty amazing, right? Yeah, you're so brave, Milio. Tell us more. Fine, but only because you asked. I've done so many new things since leaving my village. You won't believe this, but I battled a green monster too. It had 8 legs and massive claws, taller than the trees. I learned to heal a lot of people at once, way more than I did at home.
Wow, that sounds tough. How do you do it, Emilio?
After I get it once, it's easy. Wherever I go, I try to make new friends. And it always works.
Yeah!
Eventually. I know it's surprising, but fire doesn't have to hurt. It's nice to help people see it differently.
That's great training to get stronger, too.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, we think a lot alike. My family is gonna love those stories. They're probably waiting for my next letter.
I wish they were here right now.
They are here right now. And remember, we're gonna make them so proud. Ooh, I'm sleepy. I bet they have comfy beds in Ishalkan.
Welcome back to the space, ladies and gentlemen. My goodness, what an incredible game one between Harma Life Esports and T1. I don't know what it is with these two teams, man. I don't understand, but I love it.
I can't comprehend how we went from Harma Life looking like a disaster against KD. They did nothing. They just sat there, and then Viper tried a little bit, and then everyone else just sat there and lost the game. And then here,
I don't know. I mean, I think the game quality reminds me like the Worlds final.
Yeah,
like,
man.
Actually.
And Kingen, what? Where's this guy been? I don't know.
So-
We can talk about the draft. Do you want to talk about the draft?
yeah, the obvious cool thing that did happen in this draft was that we had the Lucian being compared with the Sona. and the Draven with the Nami. So you do the Nami pick away, Nami Draven is quite strong, but I thought the Sonar response was actually great. And I do think that it is a response that works very well. We actually saw, which is what we were going to focus on when the game was still looking like T1 was stomping, on like this lane, particularly with PTA and the summoners they went for, can actually play really aggressive.
Yeah, I mean the thing is like I really respect the Hard One Life that trying to kind of new thing. Like they take it away the Nami, like that's only what T1 used to do. And then I think I really like the 4-5 pick as well, the K'Sante and Talia. Like it countered a lot of chance from the T1 side. Brancom dash in, Lucian dash in, Lee Sin, and also Azir as well. Like I think the Talia 5 pick, it was incredible. Like it creatively, like so much space in the team fight. That's what actually happened in this game.
It was amazing. And let's jump into our first highlight here. We did have a lot of them prepared, but we're going to jump to 30 minutes in and talk about this insanity as Hanwha Life Esports set themselves up for this beautiful battle.
That lost ult from Carrier there, even though I think he had a great start in the game besides it, that might win him the game. Because now the rest of Hanwha is not threatened at all. This was also coming off of a mistake. What happened here was Faker TP to the Dragon. And I think they underestimated Hanwha there. That TP towards bot side should never happen. This was 2 smites as well.
But not a flip.
Yeah, not a flip. And then
secured.
From here on out.
Yeah, I mean that's the point. I mean the fake.
King in.
I mean, the T1, they were insecure just getting the Dragon. I feel like also the thing is like the most important thing was like their Koga split. Like if they wanted to play for fight, just play for fight. If they want to play for steal, they play for steal. And just if they, I think they play like the owner how he play. It was a play for steal.
Yeah.
So he ran in. He didn't do anything. He couldn't do anything after he tried to steal. And then they still up into the fight. And that's the whole point.
And if you just take Soul and you trade Soul for Baron, that can be worth it. But the reason why they, from that point on, were on the back foot, because they gave up so many bounties, so many cooldowns, so many kills, and from that point on, all of a sudden, all the carries were online for Hanwha Life.
The gold swing was absolutely absurd. And
I mean, that's why we were like, wow.
We've spoken about like bounty gold before, right? But like this was slurping up all of it, all over the map for Hanwha. And then the game gets close, right? And as we jump into our next highlight, Hanwha weren't out of the woods yet. There was an Elder on the table, and this is where all hell breaks loose.
Well, I think also that I think Hyun kind of make a misplay, which is like Faker doesn't have a TP, and they're trying to hit the Elder, putting the low HP. It's not helpful. Like what they need to do right now, I think I feel like if I was them, I would be camping the bush or just like get the visions better, and they would try to like stall the time as much as they can. And right now, this is a Hanwha favor. It's completely the 4v5.
Because if you look, Zeus has teleport. So Zeus actually is going to be able to join this fight. And if they have just a little bit of extra time here for Faker to be there, if this is like 6 extra K health on this Baron or on this Elder, like it might be playable. But instead, not going to be available. Kingen again ensures that there is no steal here. And this is a really big mistake actually here, because the helpers are somewhat low, but I don't think Hanwha has the back here.
Yeah, I mean, I would also call like really big blunder. Like they have an Elder. Like if they really want to go back, I think at least like few people should have gone there. But because they trust the smite from the clean.
And that's a pretty big mistake, and I think that's where you really see that T1 is flustered. Owner not hitting those, because the previous one wasn't his fault, but this one is, you know, like the least might secure needs to come in there, because if they get Baron, the game isn't over. I still think Hanwha will win from that point, because I really like their comp where they were.
And Elder Drake is pretty...
And but at least with Baron and Power Minions, you can kind of hold off and slow down the Elder, and then maybe you get another shot. But with that Baron gone, it was immediate GG.
It was, but man, was it an incredible game. Let's have a look at who picks up the POG. We know where our hearts lie, but is it going to be the... Yes, it is. Our boy picks it up. Kingen, absolutely incredible. In the key team fights, I think, you know, he got punished in lane. He was just kind of chilling, being a top laner. But all of these key moments, he was just incredible.
Yeah, we were so worried that it was not going to be Kingen, but it should be Kingen, right? Like, he is the one that sets up what turns out to be a game-turning fight. He is the one that ensures that they get this Elder Drake. And here's K'Sante showcasing that even though it's a pick that after the nerfs we haven't really been as excited about, the utility that the champion and the skill cap that it has in late-game team fights is still awesome to watch when executed well.
And also, this is the blind pick top lane as well. It's
Yeah.
not even, he got countered by Zeus. And how he handled well.
Yeah.
And being able to pick up the POG. And incredible performances in teamfight. That's crazy.
I don't know what it is about this team and their ability to take down T1, but they're one of the only teams, in fact, the only team that can do it in a match, but also one of the only teams that can do it in a single game. We'll see whether they can do it again as we head over to game number 2. But please, 3 games.
Thank you, Spacers. I can echo that because game number 1 was insane. I hope we just get 2 more of those and we finish off the night just like that. But maybe that's asking too much. I feel like the guys on Humble Life Esports, specifically Kingen and even Zeka as well, they really put everything on the line when the stakes are really high, and it's unbelievable what these guys can do against our best team currently in the LCK.
It really is. And with these 2 former DRX players, world champions, that have come up and done so much with another world champion in Viper, of course, from the year prior, I see the talent really is there. And these players have played through so many tense matches, so many best of 3s, best of 5s against teams from all over the world. They have been tested in every scenario you can think of. And the patience that Hanwha had on that Drake for Baron exchange and Faker's mistake to teleport, like, that is just something we do not see out of T1. And I'm not saying T1's nervous. I'm not saying T1's going with this series a little bit shaky. I'm not saying that at all, but to play a game that close to T1 and get them at their own game, that is something special, right?
And to come back from being behind in this very snowbally meta against this team, it's like unbelievable. It might be the first time we've seen it in this fashion this entire season.
Yeah, I think it is.
Just really deserves a lot of respect.
Speaking of respect, we'll still respect the Guma Caitlyn here on red side as T1 picked blue side a second time. And Draven gets banned away. Let's see if they're going to pick the Lucian lane once more, because if you ban right now the Ashe, they pick the Lucian, you take away the Nami, not going to have as much power without the Draven in that setup lane. It might mean we have to play something else here. Might be Viper playing the Zeri. They might opt into the Aphelios lane, which would be really hyped to see. So once again, Lucian first pick. This time without the Draven, though. I don't think you're taking that Nami away.
No, yeah, I think you just go for a totally different lane, as you're mentioning, like Aphelios Thresh, or maybe if you want to go for Zyra Khan. A couple of new options that have sprung up in this meta. You don't have to, like, randomly go like Veigar bot or something weird, right? Just go for something pretty standard and stable. You've already proven that you can take them down.
Will be the Zyra Khan variant here. So Nami going to be locked in now. The question becomes, what jungle pick do T1 want? The Sejuani works really well with Tidal Wave. You can chain some CC together that way. You know, you could look for potentially more picks later, but I don't think that's the style you're looking for here, really, considering it is going to be a Wukong on the other side. It is also going to be a Xayah, which is very difficult to lock down. Looking for more damage and more well-rounded compositions here on T1 side. I think Lee Sin is also still fine here. As a loss for owners, Lee Sin, by the way, huge. Very rare, and he was on track to actually hit 90% win rate on it.
Like a rare
season.
Pokemon, man.
Yeah, but with that loss, chances are much lower. Looks like he's going to lock it in once again, though. I will see the Xayah. And this is where we get, though, like you said, I loved how you put that earlier today. The second part of the draft, the more important part, the more interesting part. As this part is usually just pretty set in stone.
Yeah.
Like when this B1 pick comes through, you're pretty sure you know everything that happens in this part of the draft.
You
what
can, like,
happens
sometimes
next?
choose different junglers, you know, depending on flavor and stuff like that. But, you know, our jungle pool right now is like 4. So let's see what they do in the second half.
Cassante definitely deserves a look, I'd say, here for T1. Because that was picked blind and, sure, weak laning phase, you could argue, but ultimately it doesn't matter.
Yeah, like
he wasn't doing a whole lot with Cassante, but that's quite common, in fact. So we'll see the Azir banned. Also what Faker was able to pick up last time.
Bengi's like, yeah.
Talia will match. This is getting really hyped, man, because we know we're going to get a completely different game here. Like, some aspects of T1's draft the same, obviously, but the draft from this point on changes quite significantly. Is you're looking at a lot of strong picks here on T1 side to take away, right? The Gragas also very good in this scenario, right? You have to consider that could be flexed in the R5 counter pick. The Jax is another problem. You know, you don't want to have Kingen on that pick. LeBlanc will be taken away now too, and we'll see if Faker wants to just make it 4 mid bans here.
Feels like Silas is hanging out, you know.
Gragas too, though, so strong here.
Yeah. You might get the Silas Gragas lane if they just want to handshake it, you know, if Zeka picks up Silas and maybe Faker hops on to that one. They're once again going to ban Ornn, which leaves Cassante available.
I think it's the safest pick you can grab right now. You feel comfortable into Jax, you feel comfortable into Fiora. There's not a lot of matchups that Kingen is worried about playing here with the Cassante, but they will take the Gragas I was hinting at here with this mid pool thinned out so heavily. This is a pick that can also go top. So that's the power that you have here in red side. If they pick Jax now, you put the Gragas top, you have a counter pick for Faker. And this is what, you know, what's so puzzling about the blue side selection here for T1 is that it opens up so much flexibility here. You pick blue side to get Lucian, which you picked last time. You banned the Draven, but HLE have such a great answer here. And now is where Sparks really have to fly on the draft. Let's see what Bingy and Faker's plan are when we hit this part of the draft where...
Veigar? Ahri.
Okay.
Okay. Faker Ahri.
This is a really risky pick. I mean, this is turning this composition into a has to snowball, has to get tempo advantages comp, or it falls behind so hard.
Taking away the Cassante too. And that Gragas is going mid.
Any pick that's going to buy you time, Fiora, Jax in the side lane here is so incredibly strong. Could also just play Sion though. Have an additional front line, block the Ahri from setting up charms. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, we're breaking the rules, Valdez. We're doing it again, Rascal.
Rules broken. I mean, it could just be Gragas top again.
Yeah, I mean, Rascal played the Akali top last time in our previous series.
Mm-hmm. Into the Fiora. Let's see what they want to go for.
I do think that there is a lot of pick potential here with the Ahri into Gragas because he doesn't have a lot of escape, and without his cask, there's a lot of power actually for Lee Sin into this lane. So they're going to put the Gragas top here because that's where he's going to have a longer lane. It's going to be much more difficult for Owner to have an impact here, and Cassante shouldn't be able to break him either. He can still build AP and build damage here, but the Akali is going to give you an extra crossfire setup here on objectives. You can flank and get the backline very easily. It's a very squishy composition here for T1. So I like this flex. It's not one we expected to see here, but it works so incredibly well. Taking a look at the scoreboard here.
How Life is T1's one and only. Yeah. In terms of, you know, teams that can defeat them, I would imagine.
I mean, this, you know, standing shows what would happen if T1 loses this game right now and the HLE take that 10th win. Love to see the orange color on it. This is going to be such an interesting game. A T1 really opting into their snowbally style, trying to get picks early. And now the Gragas is pulled out of the mid lane. This Ahri, not going to be as potent with the pre-level 6 Lee Sin. Owner has to get so much done this game. We know he can. It's his best champion.
Yeah. Felt bad, you know, you mentioned he got the loss on his Lee Sin, and he's going to be desperate for one of those in this game number 2. Let's hop onto the Rift right now. Let's take a little look at this invade. They're trying to bait Faker to, like, poke at him maybe and jump over the wall, but Faker's not going to take that bait.
Oh, they will be able to get this ward up. We'll drop it late to make sure it gets the most value possible. Faker going to start W here.
Yeah.
Some first strike gold.
Nice, GG. 9 gold. It's over.
Sick advantage.
Mm-hmm.
So
Massive.
both of these junglers will be spotted early in the pathing. That's going to miss, unfortunately, for Guma. We'll have control of this lane early, as we saw in the previous matchup of the Lucian Nami versus the Xayah Rakan. Very difficult to play out until you have level 2 for the Xayah and Rakan, unless there is a mistake made. And once again, press the attack here for Guma.
Lucian Nami not super strong in their own right at level 1. Very strong at level 2. It's kind of funny the way it works out, as we are going for that one in a flash already. They know he has W, so okay.
Yeah, they know he has W. It's actually a really good call, because if you see that, you know you can actually just aggressively push forward here, and you know that Guma can't really combo and trade back the damage. So yeah, in terms of health trade here, nothing really happening, but getting a flash is massive. He's going to look for it again.
Okay, well, they're not going to get the knockup this time. Good trade now for T1's side. Let's see who's going to get level 2 here first. At the moment, looks like Guma and Keria. It's very close.
Yeah, it's really close.
It's going to happen at the same time.
Yeah.
There you go.
Very intense. Notice Faker has complete control of mid, by the way, this whole time. Same with Zayas on the top side. So Soul Lane's completely under T1's control at this moment in time in the early levels, as is expected.
I feel like I'm like
3.
So forward in my seat right now. I'm like, something's going to happen.
Something is going to happen, but Guma's positioning good here. No Blade Caller to come through. Don't have level 3 just yet.
And they know the possibility, or at least they should, as the dash away. Life taking a huge chunk. Where is Clid is the question. Yes, he gets a bit of damage in, but now Owner making his way down.
Gonna have to heal probably.
Oh, he's gonna hit the minion as okay. E onto multiple members. Just gonna kite it back and we reset. We go again.
So a trade of heals here. Flash still down for Guma. At the end of the day, feeling pretty good about this one as T1, because you got the health trade in your favor. Now Owner's got control here with bottom side. Is going to come over and make a pass at Clid. As Wukong on a huge win rate right now. We can notice a broad spectrum of players too. Clid undefeated on this champion. 2 of the wins in a row. Akali has not had the same.
Yeah, Akali's on a massive losing streak on 13.4. This is spotted. And so Owner is not going to get much value there, as he is going way into the enemy jungle. The blue buff hasn't even been taken 4 minutes into the game.
And this wave is crashing here.
Love this meta.
Life positioned aggressively. Needs to be careful about getting caught here.
The poke that's coming in onto Viper already, but Guma, crucially, no flash. As okay, dash away, but now they're on top of him, but the damage not quite there. Viper flashes forward. They don't quite have vision, as they do get first blood. This will go into Clid's hands.
You can play to the alcove.
Oh, but they got too much damage on the Clid, and Life goes down, and so will Viper.
There's not enough damage here.
One by one, the dominoes go down.
It's 3 kills now going over to T1 here. He's in the back there in the alcove, but they don't have enough health. And he doesn't have any damage at this point to try to fight it over the wall here. So HLE stick around, and he flashes forward looking for the fight, looking for that first blood. It goes over to Clid. So yes, HLE do get first blood, but it's on the Wukong. 2 kills to Owner. And so much money now to the bottom lane of T1. A Dirk picked up here for Guma.
Immediate gank to the top side? Kind of being denied vision right now.
Life
Here comes Life. Okay, let's see it. Gonna get hit by the 1 barrel. He's got Ghost. Knockup comes in, but yeah, the damage not quite there.
King and no level 6. If he has 6, maybe you make something of it with the cask.
Yeah.
Unsuccessful.
Just pinging that Ghost that they got,
Yeah, I could hear that.
Trying to keep the morale high after what happened down here.
So Guma cleanses early. And then is going to be taken out here. Viper flashing past Keria to look for this damage. Now he's got the alcove. The emote comes out, but Life has no health. Clid can't do anything. So you just give everything over. In mid, meanwhile.
Yeah, we got... Okay, it's going to be just fine.
Flash is expended. This game, man.
This game. It's like 5 minutes in. I'm like, oh, God. What's going to happen?
As the dust settles, HLE are in big trouble. You know, the early game has gone very well here for T1. You have an early Dirk for Guma, so he can push aggressively. Always going to have control of this bottom lane for the time being now, which means you're going to have this first Drake. And this is a composition that needs to snowball, right? And the Lee Sin getting ahead and other different types of compositions where you're trying to get, you know, some advantages for scaling champions. You feel worse about Lee Sin having 2 kills early because it's going to mean less later. It's actually great in this case because it means Lee Sin could do more things faster and continue to snowball the game. So it's not actually a detriment in this case at all. Bubble hits, not going to follow up.
No vision.
There is a whole lot of things that can go wrong here now for HLE in this mid-game against this RE competition.
Charm, Zeka gonna get hit by it, but take a look at this. He's still going in as, well, not gonna land the Shuriken. Faker does not have Spirit Rush, but he did have Flash. If anything, got a little bit hairy.
Owner down here at level 5. This looks very familiar to the previous game. He's crashing this wave through, taking a massive CS lead. And Owner doesn't actually have to commit here, but if Life wants to get cute, he will punish.
Yeah. And, you know, just in case Klid is around, but now with Faker making his way down here, probably calling out the Spirit Rush cooldown, just going to use this 4-man push. They don't even need to get kills. They can just pick up plates, press for the map.
The timing of that first Drake, because they got control so early, means that there's no cross map here. 30 seconds on Herald means that Klid can't take that objective. He doesn't have 6, he can't come down here to help, and there's nothing he can do. Maybe he could try to gank the Cassante, but Zeus even has his Ghost coming back up here now. So plates going over, tons of CS denied for this early game Xayah.
Yeah, and Owner's still here, by the way. As, level 6 is in, they're going for Viper. He does not have Flash, and down he will go. Owner picking up the kill once again, 3-0 on the Lee Sin. I mentioned he wants revenge.
And this is so much CS lost already here in the bottom lane. And without your Xayah here, you know, she has to rush back to lane as quickly as she can, but Owner could just run right to top side here where they already have Prio in mid and on the top lane to take this Herald. So the interim Klid can't find anything. And if Viper has level 6 for this dive, maybe he lives there, trades one back, but he doesn't. He doesn't have Flash because he lost it in the previous exchange. Now he's 30 CS behind. And guess what? I guess first pick Lucian really does rule the day.
Yeah, and it has been banned from time to time, but it's rough. You don't get a lot of bans. It's pretty elementary, right? Like, as you mentioned, no Flash, no ults, no hope. He's dead, 3v2.
Good cleanse and Flash there from Guma to make sure he gets out. Life was pushed over. Cannot even get the experience there. Is pushed out of the lane. So no 6 for the bottom duo here of HLE. And as mentioned, Owner is just going to have this uncontested, no farm lost on the map. And we're going to see the lane swap attempt here, it looks like. Because if this is a contest,
they're just
I have
really,
bad news.
They're pinging onto the Rift Herald. They're a bit late.
Yeah, a bit, I think, is an understatement.
Yeah, they are very late. Smite comes in way too late. Klid is going to flash and look for a Flash Cyclone onto an Ahri. So that's not going to amount to too much. As
he's got, okay, second activation not going to happen. That's the end of that. It was like he flashed in and he was like, I'm going to get something with this. And then did trade an ultimate for Faker, but a flash down now. And that is one of the biggest tools you have in HLE's composition here early is Flash Cyclone. Oh, hits it in the Shroud. But now he's not going to have that. And it was telegraphed that he doesn't have it. And he wanted to use it so desperately, right? But because he's so late and doesn't have the vision required or the setup here with Gragas to lead to a combo, he just throws his flash away. So now T1 know for the next 5 minutes, he won't have that really insane engage tool.
Yeah, it's going to feel pretty good as, yeah, I mean, take a look at the gold lead. It's 3,000 at 10 minutes into the game. It's a massive deficit for Viper down on the bottom side. Top lane as well, you know, just a little bit going in favor of Zeus. And it does feel like T1 are a bit dissatisfied with the way game one went. So they're cleaning everything up. They said, well, we got an early lead in the last game. Let's get an even bigger early lead in this game.
That's what I was going to say. The lead in game one was pretty huge, but it looks very tiny compared to the lead we're looking at here.
Yeah.
So T1 also known to be the best snowballing team, you know, by a large margin here in the LCK. And D+ and Genji coming close. They are definitely the team that takes advantages and snowballs them so well. Speaking of,
Culling is nullified by Guardian.
Ari here starting to get, you know, quite a bit of farm and is going to be very relevant to snowball this game. And once again, with this mid prio, we could have seen, looks like they were considering it, a dive setup before Drake, but instead they will just group up for Drake faster here with the bottom prio they have. There's just nothing HLE can do about this right now with no flash for Klid. And King, by the way, is going tank Gragas. Thought maybe he'd go damage here just because of the lack of longevity here in this composition for T1 and the extra burst against these squishy targets who are trying to go in. Might have been great to, instead of just tanking the pick, just go ahead and blow up whoever is coming at you. Like, Ari's coming at you, you actually just turn and destroy her with the Akali damage, but instead, we'll be going tanky, so he's not going to be relevant in these fights really for a long time either. And that's not doing them any favors.
Mountain Soul this time. We had Cloud in game 1. So we got some extra terrain, and of course, the extra buffs that will eventually come in here for whoever picks up those Mountain Drakes. The tank Gragas is going to enjoy this, as you were just talking about, with the tank builds here for Kingen, and of course Cassante and even Owner, as gold leads across the board, but mostly in the 80 carry role.
True. 1,200. Not looking great. We'll see what the breaking point is going to be in this game, because Soul Point is a fight that T1 absolutely should win. And HLE, if they give it up, it doesn't get easier just by default. You know, their comp doesn't just scale better.
Well, they see you as Owner trying to take away the red buff. He's on a mission to survive, as he might actually gets in to avoid the cask, as nobody can kill the Lee Sin. The tidal wave comes in, and Zeka's kind of hopeless too, goes down right after his flash. And it was all just an epic bait at the end of the day. As in goes Faker, he's got stopwatch. Talked about him being good at doing this, but he is going to have to flash away.
Yeah. Bit overzealous there, I'd say, but what an incredible set of plays from Owner and crew. Carrier coming over with the heals, and that was super well played. 3,000 assists hit now here in game 2. The 5th support to do so in LCK history.
And this is the overall. He's also hit the 10th in overall. This is insane what this player has been able to pull off this fast.
All rolls here, and what looked like a juicy opportunity there to punish a Lee Sin who has tons of map control, who's trying to look for a red buff, ends up backfiring in a big way. And Kingen doesn't actually have a lot of damage here, right? He's tank Gragas, hits a body slam, Owner kicks him away, gets a shield, Faker comes over with Everfrost, he gets a heal from Carrier, and then Tidal Wave keeps Zeka off of him, and Zeka comes in to look to delete him with 5-point strike. Like, this team can turn on a dime. They will take any scenario and make it theirs. Faker going a bit far on this, but it's like, I like to imagine T1 practice in the X-Men Danger Room, where they just like set the difficulty to the highest. Can we win this fight? We'll find out.
Well, Carry is feeling himself. He is going to zone Zeka into Faker's charm, I guess. That's one way to say it. He did flash bubble in Akali. Didn't quite work out.
Nope. Opportunistic. And remember, T1's composition does want to snowball super hard, so moves like this are how you get there. But the lead they have already, I think, is quite enough. You know, sometimes we're like, okay, this Lucian comp, how ahead are they? They're ahead, but are they ahead enough? No, definitely not. You know, we have to have that conversation sometimes. You know, T1 have hit all the benchmarks quite nicely. But further snowballing that lead is definitely what they're looking for here. As Faker gets the whole bottom turret. So that's 2 turrets down, and they will be able to take this second Herald. And this could potentially Valdez line up nicely for the Soul Point here. The first Mountain Drake, just drop that in mid, threaten the inner, or even put it topside with TPs here for Faker and Zeus.
Yeah.
Just pull HLE around the map, because Zeka and Kingen both don't have their TPs, so you could just wait, push it top, TP the objective, and say checkmate, basically.
Yeah. Individual Mountain Drake's going to be relatively strong. Faker doesn't have flash, but he is Ari, and Carry is just hanging around on the bottom side of the map, so should be totally fine. Not actually threatening him under turret or anything.
Clid sticks around, charm misses. This could be a window. It's just so hard to pull this off, and you don't know where Owner is. So you don't want to force it. Speaking of Owner, he is actually on the bottom side. See some bait pings here actually around the Drake itself. So looking like they're not planning on using the Herald on the opposite side of the map here and then teleporting in. So Owner, of course, doesn't have teleport as the jungler. They just want to fight this out as a brawl. Zeus is still hard pushing top alone. And because this is such an important Drake, like, Kingen has to walk down. He doesn't have TP, so effectively, right now, Zeus is the Rift Herald that I was talking about.
Yeah, and they can use the Rift Herald as well. Probably gonna drop it in mid, you'd have to imagine. Although they are giving up a lot of space here in the pit. Faker going to spot this happening. And it is dropped, but Hamalife Esports trying to press onto the Drake. They don't quite have enough damage to rush it down.
Zeka on the edge here. Good control ward to spot that flanking Akali. They're looking for life.
Uh-oh. Yep, life on the flank as well. And he will be spotted out, pushed away.
Zeka's actually going to get this ward gone. And the tussle for this Drake continues.
Now, Life is about to get his flash up. Could be huge. Let's see. As it's getting close, the charm hits onto Zeka, Everfrost as well, and it resets as the engage here onto Owner. They're trying to burst him down, and they get him! They get the Lee Sin! But what is the follow-up going to look like here with T1 so far ahead? Zeka is dead. As the Feather's now on the ground, Clid is not winning this fight against Zeus. As Viper tries to pull him back, but just gets clapped by Gumayusi, as they will chase them down. And Kingen is not going to be able to stop them this time.
Yeah, Clid. Oh, he's taken out here. It's so close. Looks like it might be another early ace, just like last game.
Yeah, same situation too, where Kingen is going to survive a long time, just like Life in the last game.
It's just history repeats itself. A soul point fight, a full wipe here. Sub 20 minutes for T1.
They're not going to get it just yet.
No, Owner's going to come back here and take it. They want to get the better reset here so they could actually instantly go get Baron vision control. As this fight, Zeka's charmed on the left side of it, and when Kingen goes in for the engage and they spend everything on Owner with the Cyclone here, look who's untouched, the carries. And Faker was on the left side of this fight, and he's instantly on the right, because that's what Ahri does. So she's actually able to deal with Zeka on one side, and then on the right side of the fight, still make an impact here and chase down the enemy carriers who are so significantly behind. Kingen is Tank Gragas, and then Clid is pulled out by Zeus. So yeah, you killed the enemy jungler, but your jungler isn't doing anything. And while this is all happening, Clid actually loses out to Zeus in the 1v1. It was so close, such a narrow fight. And then Kingen is taken out last year. They give the kill over to Guma. And now in live, Owner is going to pick up this Drake here. Soul Point leading into a Baron spawn. And T1's lead is so massive at this point that they are already setting up deep vision, like I said, with that reset, buying those control wards, putting them on the back of the pit, and the gold graph just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah, it's just swelling up there on the right side as we're looking at over 8,000 now. 8,000 and a half. And Hamalife Esports, I mean, they did it in game one. They came back from a deficit that was not as much, as Life is just bouncing around in the jungle. And crucially, you know, in game one, T1 were not able to just take that easy peasy, you know, 21-minute T1 Baron that we talk about all the time. So that should be kind of the first step, but T1, they're really trying to take as much vision, and we got a TP in the Baron pit.
Yeah, it's from Kingen.
Now they're very far behind. In goes Zeka. And I think he's just going to go out now. So he's just gone. Nice try.
Guma,
like, oh crap.
He's very low.
Yeah, but this is Tank Gragas. Oh, that's weird.
They just really wanted to stay longer here to maybe set something up for Life, because Life still has his ult. If they can kind of keep fighting back here and Kingen is unseen,
Zeka
maybe.
bot.
Yeah, this is
they're
just
gonna
so
give it away.
desperate. I think they have to, and there's some bounty gold to be taken. It's not all bad. They can try to set up a big steal play here. Clid with no flash, unfortunately, but with this Gragas, maybe it's possible.
They're looking around. They're checking every corner. They have no idea where Kingen is.
Kind of greedy,
This is taking
T1.
a long time.
Yeah, this is pretty greedy, T1, and look, Zeka's coming back.
Yeah, he's here, actually. I mean, he's going to get here on time, at least.
Clid's got the wraparound. Here we go.
Oh, as they get in, and the cask is pretty good. Look at Guma. That's going to be their main target. He hits the shuriken. He He gets in on Taguma. You've got to be kidding me. They can't do it twice,
They
can
did it
they?
again, Valdez. They did it again.
No.
And Clip with the full wraparound. Guma is exposed.
They're
they
doing
have
Baron.
the mask. They split this team in half, and they killed the Lee Sin early. Guma's the second death, and thank you very much for the early Baron, T1. As this was greedy, you didn't know where Kingen was. And I love, once again, HLE was so patient. They could have tried to all in and kill Guma, but they're like, no, let's back off. They don't know where we are. We have vision control, and if we can get this Gragas into an impossible location, maybe we win this fight. Because look at where Clit is.
Shuriken from Zeka.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's a through. Kingen zones the rest of them out. Faker is next to be targeted. So they kill the jungler. Zayas can't do anything in this fight. So beautiful. Incredible.
Just dodging everything.
Everybody's on the same page.
Yeah, and especially, again, you know, to point out, it's Kingen and Zeka who are kind of like when everything is down to the wire. These guys, it's like they're still living in Worlds. Like Kuni was making, I don't know if it was full for real or if it was a joke about how it kind of looks like World Finals, but I don't know, man. You know, seeing some of these same names, a lot of the same names, actually, if you consider both teams. But especially Kingen and Zeka, just the way they're playing under this pressure is kind of insane.
It really is. Now, T1 still have a massive gold lead. And notice that the Baron buff, even though taken, hasn't really gotten HLE across the map. Bounties, for example, are still available. So this is the first step of many. But this composition does have a lot of scaling aspects to it. And if they can survive, I mean, this is really similar to Game 1, right? And arguably an even more extreme version of that, because this is an Ahri, not an Azir.
It's like earlier as well.
Yeah,
this is happening. Like the Baron fight in the last game was like 26 minutes.
And this Xayah is going to do crazy things defensively here. She is one of the hardest champions you can play a pick comp into. And T1, they got ahead so much that it felt like, oh, it doesn't matter what their comp is. It doesn't matter how we're going to play it out. But one greedy Baron.
Okay, Everfrost. There's potential, yeah. He's going to go in for this one as Zeka trying to get on top of the Ahri. The damage not quite there, but he will go down in the end, and Clit is just barely there.
Trading up in gold. Trading up in gold. There's bounty gold here. Bounty on this turret as well, as Clit's trying to push it down before those fall, and I think he will get it. Owner's over here.
He's got it.
That's a lot of money into this Wukong's pocket.
Owner getting on top of the Wukong now. We don't have Cyclone here for Clit, as he's in a little bit of trouble. That's actually trading it back here as the kick onto the real one, as he should get it. Yeah, the Q comes in, execution onto Clit, and at least Owner trades it back.
Yeah, so it's pretty significant, but the gold pickup here, advantage HLE, still just cutting a hole as best as they can in this gold lead. It's still a trade up of kills, of course, for T1, but structure's off the map, and when you're trading even from behind, especially when your comp is scaling, you're feeling decent about that. As this is Zeka getting caught by the Charm. Now the Drake is spawning here. This is one that HLE absolutely cannot give up here. This is the Mountain Soul, so...
They're not in position, though.
Yeah, they are not in position. Even with Baron buff here, with the loss of those two players, they're just not going to contest. So this really hurts. The Soul wasn't enough to win for T1 in the previous game, but in this game, it's way more significant. It is that Mountain Soul stacked so early. What it also does, too, is... Yeah, we're going to watch the whole part of this. What the Drake also does is that it's an Elder Spawner, which means that you can actually fight for this objective earlier, so you have less time for your opponent to scale. If HLE gets any of these Drakes, it's 5 extra minutes before the Elder comes up, and that's absolutely not what T1 wants.
Yeah, this is, this is getting crazy again. Gotta like T1's chances at this moment in time, but as you mentioned, you know, as time comes along, slowly passes, you get one of those lengthy team fights, the Xayah's doing crazy things, Zek on 3 items, etc. We could find ourselves in a very similar situation to Game 1. Life just playing it so patiently, they know they just got to play the time game. But T1, they've got a little pep in their step this time. Everything's happening a bit quicker here in Game 2.
Yeah. Some flank wards being cleared here. As you can see by Faker, lots of control vision set up. You need to play around this in order to keep this lead, in order to prevent the flank from Clid, prevent that Kingen flank. But with all the resources being spent to clear those wards, you know, HLE holding on by a thread here on this turret.
Yeah, they're holding for now.
They've got good wave clear.
Kingen on Tank Gragas, he can kind of just sit in the front and always kind of threaten, you know, you never really know if you're going to get cast into like a Rakan knock-up charm, etc. It's kind of scary. So T1 without Baron, they can't necessarily just take free 5v5 turrets. And Siege is not fantastic.
Yeah, exactly. And grouping up like that, 5v5, means that no one on HLE is farming the side. That's for sure. But it also means that T1 isn't getting anything from this mountain advantage right now that they have. And they're not furthering their lead or threatening an inhibitor. And just grouping on a turret and losing it is just buying further time for HLE. But T1 have a ton of map control. And I don't think that Kingen is going to be able to have the world's widest flank once again on this Baron, because it spawns in 45 seconds here and T1 have all the angles covered. They've already controlled all of the flank angles. You see Faker, Owner, and Keria just went to make sure there is no TP flank for Kingen or Zeka.
You can only get burned so many times. We did just have two big item pickups here for the side of T1. A Rabadon Seth Cap for Faker and an Infinity Edge for Gumayusi.
Very big damage output here.
20 seconds until the Baron.
And HLE, if they give this up, it means that T1 are going to have potentially some inhibitors down, some of HLE's inhibitors down for the Elder. So getting that prio is going to be nigh impossible. So this objective leads into the more critical Elder fight afterwards. So it is so important for HLE to contest this. And even though Xayah has 3 items here, it's going to be about the setup. It's going to be about the CC, avoiding Faker here. Does have Zhonya's available, Mountain Soul. So you even have a longer leash to try to dive and set up for this stuff. As T1 with that additional resistance, with those additional shields.
Zooming in on Viper there, he just picked up his, he doesn't have any boots.
He found a pocket. Oh, he found a pocket of vision here. This is actually wild that he was able to get around here. And the Scuttle's about to fade. This is insane. He might have just enough time to wrap around and catch them here.
Man. Are they gonna get, is this gonna happen again?
I mean, it might.
The rest of the team has got to come in here from mid. They still have some time. 28 minutes.
Still some time here, but not a lot. Zeka coming over, Zayah zoning him out. They could just look for the steal.
Oh, Klid spotted. Flash in from Guma, and you know what? It's going to work. They're going to take down Klid. Looked a bit confusing at first, but yeah, now Life in a little bit of trouble. The turn here from T1 should just be enough, although the feathers are on the ground. Got to be careful going into Viper. He gets close. This is going all the way down. Jonas Strong has to keep scrolling forever. The feathers are on the ground here, but Viper just has to run away. Kingen will be the second one to go down.
And we're 30 minutes into the game here. These death timers are getting pretty long, and T1 should be able to push with Baron to get at least inhibitors down, if not win the game outright. And that's how you can handle a flank here. As T1, you see Klid, he doesn't have a GA this game. He's sitting on 2 items, and Guma decides, with my IE and the damage I have stacked up here and my team's positioning, plus the fact that he's aware of the rest of HLE being so far away they can't follow up on a Cyclone, he's like, your flank is just one bridge too far. They flash on top of Klid, kill him early, and the subsequent fight is just so easy for T1. They have great chase, and this Wombo combo setup here for HLE relies so heavily on the Wukong Cyclone. So they know where Zeka is, they know where Kingen is, and Guma flashes here. They destroy the Wukong, and then Tidal Wave goes down, and how do you turn this around now as HLE? You can't get to the backline, and you just have to run for the hills. Good attempts here from Viper, all things considered, but he is all outed. And that is the end of this fight. T1 resetting, Baron up, and Elder where they've got their eyes focused now.
They're trying to get their own Exodia here. Timing not going to be as good as it was for Hanwha Life Esports in game 1. And you see that Hanwha, they're trying to group up here. They got to try something, I guess. Up against the Baron, they're down 9,000 gold and a Mountain Soul.
Klid still has Flash. All it takes is a Smite steal. You know, T1 Secure has to be really good here. And Owner has had problems sticking to these objectives in this series so far. Not all of them, but, you know, let's turn our pages back to game 1. It's definitely not impossible to believe that Klid could do this.
Right, everybody's in the bottom lane. Hanwha Life Esports.
Its turret is still up, by the way, so HLE can't just wrap all the way around.
Yeah.
The turret is up and very healthy.
Zeka's pushing out mid. He's going to have an angle from the mid side. Is starting up. Down goes the turret.
Not as healthy as I thought. They push it down, and here's your angle, Clid.
Yeah. And T1, you got to be so careful. You might even be second-guessing yourself after the way game 1 went. Zeka, though, is
He's just drawing them away. He's drawing them away. He's hoping that, but T1 are not going to take the bait. They're just going to let the Drake reset.
Yeah.
Nice try, Clid.
Zeka's got TP, though. Let's see how this one is going to go. Life and Viper having the angle from the bottom side. As CP is coming in, and Faker's going to get caught on the front line, but he's got his Zhonya's. And will that be enough to get him a big knockup from the Cassante as Faker is still alive? They finally get him in the end. Viper is fighting it out from the back line. Guys, look at Zeka in the back line,
oh
too.
My God, Valdez!
Viper winning a fight down 9,000 gold. What is happening?
Oh my God. Now it's not over yet. Viper here, still full health, but Zeka's so low, and they still have this Cassante on the front line. So neither of these teams could take this objective. Clid's still alive, so he has Smite. But
scaling of Hama Life is winning them these games, and just the way they're playing it.
Yeah, but also T1 still very ahead, right? They still have the items. They still absolutely can win this 3v4. With Hama Life not having Zeka able to be in this fight. Doesn't have TP either because he used it just before this. To watch the engage here, teleport comes through from Zeka. He's not here on the initial part, but Faker way overextending here. And the value of Cyclone in this fight is unreal. Life has stopwatch when they try to target him down, and as everybody tunnels on the Viper, the Blade Caller comes through, and he just lives through everything. Guma cannot get close to him. That burst on the Zeka is what makes sure that T1 are still in this game.
Oh, Life, gotta be careful.
And we're going again.
Yeah.
Back on the merry-go-round.
Again. And Kingen, guess what? You know, he played Cassante in game 1. Now he's playing Tank Gragas, hits the perfect cask against Faker, who's got Zhonya's, he's got Flash, he is Ahri, doesn't matter.
Look at the item value here, still higher for T1, but the gap is much smaller than it was before, especially when you look at the 80 carries here.
Yeah, and got like 2,000 smaller.
I mean, Faker is so squishy, too, that even with the Mountain Soul, if he dies, you know, that extra damage, those extra items don't mean as much. You know, if he doesn't burst down that target, who cares if he's 3,000 gold ahead if Zeka's zipping around the back line?
Hama Life have some good vision right now on the Drake, so they know this is happening, but T1's trying to force a fight right now without Zeka in it. It's King in a lot of trouble. He's very tanky, but not tanky enough. Down goes the Gragas. And that is a very nice turn and pick here from T1.
A lot of tools gone for HLE until that moment. Like, Viper just barely got his ult back up. Kingen is not here in this fight, no TP. And with Flash Cyclone, Clid is your win condition once again. Watch the monkey.
Oh, God.
This is everything. They have Life here, who doesn't have Flash, but could try to ult in.
Oh, Zeka, he's got to go in. He doesn't have a way out. Has Zhonya's, but on the front line, he's just on the run. As in they go, the knockup comes in from the side of Zeus, and that will be the end of the Akali. And they keep this one on a leash, it looks like, 5,000 health.
Yeah, and Clid just wants so desperately to steal, but Zeus is following him and tracking him, so he won't be able to 50-50 this. The Elder does go to T1. A Baron has expired, so this is not Exodia.
Oh, man.
But they could use the Elder to try to push this mid lane. Yeah. As you can see, the ping is coming down immediately to grab the inhibitor, and any picks definitely lead to this game ending. Right now, we go 3.
Yeah, I mean,
back.
5v4 with Elder should be enough.
Clid once again, man, on the world's longest flank.
I thought maybe he was trying to get into the wave or something, but not quite going to happen. T1 looking good on the charge down mid. As the cast not good enough this time. Very nice on the timing of the Featherstorm, but I just don't think it's going to matter too much. But that is a big ultimate in that back line. The Elder is so strong, but Owner's going to go down. And all of a sudden, okay, we're trading. And Zeka just trying to survive as Zeus.
Saw Viper.
Frontlining, yeah, it's just got to be Viper, but you're fighting against Elder Drake. How can you do it? Oh, he's going to hit the charm, and that should be enough. Down goes the Zaya, and T1 have done it just barely. I mean, they were ahead like 10,000 gold the whole game, and they finally did it.
That's it.
We'll go to the Nexus here, and we are going to a game number 3.
T1, 2 dominant early games back-to-back, but in game 2, the lead is bigger, and even though there were some big errors there on huge objective fights, and the Elder was almost flipped into HLE's favor, the Baron fight did not go the way they wanted. T1 are able to close it out this time around in a 30-minute game. It's a 3-game series again, Valdez.
Well, I did not expect this series to be this hype, or this back and forth, or this fun as it has been. T1, they will once again go back to the drawing board. This second chance, definitely better, but, you know, it's like going from a 60 on the test to going to like a 75. They'd like to make it 100.
The resilience that HLE have shown in these two incredibly one-sided games from the early game is unreal. The back push there from Kingen to say, I'm not going to try to go for that half health Gunga on tank Gragas. I'm not killing Guma now. Let's back up, set up a perfect fight. Maybe we can beat them on Baron. Same thing we saw in game 1. That Elder fight, which was brilliant. Viper's positioning, his team fighting. Yeah, he does less than half the damage of Guma, but it was about to pop off. It was about to be way more. It was about to be the turning point in that game. If he wins that fight on Elder, the second fight, if Kingen doesn't get caught, maybe HLE take this series 2-0. That is not what happened, but no one is really putting up a fight against T1 like this from this far behind. No one is doing that. But HLE tonight says we will, and we get a third game of this.
Yeah, you can't really ask for too much more than this. Game 3 is happening. And who knows who's going to take it from here? Could be anyone, could be either of these teams. But guys, we will have a break once again, and I'm very curious to see what the guys on the space have to say about that.
조심 조심해.
자유고 자유고.
야 그라 본다 그라. 안 맞았고. 나 쳐볼래 더. 아칼리 나오는데. 얘부터. 좋아 우리가 좋아. 야 빨리 좀 와. 나 준비했어. 오공부터. 아칼리. 개피. 파워 잡아. 애들 다 개피 위에. 야 그라 스프레이 있거든 조심해. 나 궁 돌아 곧 기다려봐.
나도 공 돌아.
나 궁 3초.
나 궁각 본다.
잘 맞았어.
자. 지졌다.
나 살려줘. 야 살려줄게.
야, 아칼리다?
맞았어.
잘못 쳤고.
나이스.
한타 시간 너무 빡세긴 하다.
Welcome back to the space, everyone. After another grueling match between T1 and Hanwha Life Esports, I thought at the beginning of this one that it was going to be a little bit of a buzzkill with the fact that T1 got out so far ahead, but it is a Hanwha versus T1 series, and therefore we need to have some crazy objective fights and some potential swings.
The key thing, though, is that it didn't actually turn around at any point. Because the gold lead remained in like the 5k plus range. But T1 fans after the game one probably were still like a little, ooh.
Yeah.
And this time, Lucianami doesn't get broken up.
I really love, and also the Lucian Nami, how they played it. Like, they make really
That's the
lane
main
spicy
thing, yeah.
against the Zyro Khan. Like, they knew that from the draft that, like, Lucian Nami go 50-50 against Zyro Khan. That's not good.
You lose.
Like, we already said it from the pre-show, like, the first match previously, Lucian Nami go 50-50. That's no good. I literally called it if T1 pick Lucian Nami. That's not going to happen.
He did.
That's actually not happen. That's how they want. That's how they got lead.
And he went PTA again. So
Yeah.
doubling down on the fact that they need to get ahead.
Yeah, really well played, I think. And it also showcases, again, how good the synergy is between the bot lane and... Because Guma Carrier in 2v2 are enough to beat like half the bot lanes in the LCK. But Viper and Life are very strong. But then if you add Owner, then it becomes a different equation.
It does, and he's back on his Lee Sin yet again, looking amazing. The Cassante picked away this time, and Faker's Ari, always an absolute joy to watch. So we are going to keep our highlights to the early game. Let's jump through this one where things just go real bad for Hanwha Life.
I mean, this is like what I mentioned. Like, Lucian Nami itself as a 2v2 is really hard to snowball themselves. So it's really, really important that, like, coordinated with the jungler, your teammate, even top lane, even mid laner. In these cases, I think Guba played really well, and Owner was ready for it.
And that's the key thing. If Owner isn't here, then this is like maybe Carrier is able to trade a kill, but that'll be the end of it. And Carrier might be in trouble himself as well. Because of Owner's positioning, him already being ready, the combo here is just insane. Carrier actually being able to also snipe down Life. And then Owner also gets set up on a really good path, like his Lee when snowballing is incredibly impactful. So that was a really big point. And the reason why we're focusing in on this early highlight is because if this doesn't happen, you get what Hooney and what we was talking about, what we saw earlier today. Like, this bot lane needs to get ahead. For the current iteration of Lucian Nami to work, you got to try and play aggressive, and I think this was a really good example.
Yeah, they definitely did fantastically well in that department. T1 then used that small advantage like they often do to create leads all over the map, which leads us to our next highlight here. T1 this time actually just wasting no time in creating these advantages.
And we were deliberating whether we should add later highlights, but even though there were a couple of moments where it looked like the game was close, T1 was still pretty much in control throughout the entirety of it. So this, where they are able to, even with Owner getting shut down, win the fight, I think is the moment where T1 fully takes over.
Yeah, I mean, Owner got popped, but at the same time, you gotta also see the, like, Akali got the pop too. And like, after this fight, Ari, this is the, you know, that's why Ari is like good in this kind of scrimmage. When the fight is not, you know, when the fight is going longer, you can keep your ultis up, and it's ace.
And I don't know who's going to get pogged, but it should be one of the two bot laners.
It should. And looking at that last highlight again with the slowdowns on Gumayushi's movement, my God, this man. That was absolutely extraordinary. Dashing out of a body slam into perfectly avoiding the grand entrance into everything else. Man, I don't think he could have played that fight any better. And we've seen some moments from Gumayushi. This was not one of the negative ones. This was an absolutely amazing game from this guy. He had a good game one. It wasn't good enough and had to bring out the big guns. Whoa, I hope that we get another relatively close one in game 3.
The cool thing is we don't know if it's going to be close for the first 15 minutes, because those have just been T1 stomps. It's what happens when Baron comes into play. Uni had a great advice.
I don't know. Usually, I was like, today I said the Baron is being happy because the T1 haven't been getting Baron in 3 minutes.
Yeah, that's true.
After the 20-minute that game. But, I don't know, T1 looking kind of sus when they're turning the Baron.
Turnarounds, couple of traps.
Maybe it's the clit angle once again. It seems like he just resides in their head, you know? And we can actually bring up the side selection here as well, because Hanwha have elected to once again jump onto the red side. Do you guys have any ideas as to why this might be the fact, other than the fact that they've gone 50-50 against T1 on red side?
Well, I think it's also from the first game too. Like I think they've won before, and I don't think they want to take a risk as well. Like especially, I think they've been drafting really, really well in the 4-5. It's just I think the Akali was the blunder one.
Yeah.
It's been losing 9 games, losing 9 streaks 9 times in a row. That's
when Zeka loses on Akali, you know it's a problem.
Yeah, exactly. Even with how good Zeka is, like if he's not able to make a big closer is another example, then maybe we should give it a rest for now.
Yeah, I kind of agree on that one. So utilizing the counter pick effectively and not letting Zeus just pick K'Sante, because even though K'Sante was nerfed and it felt like he'd fallen off a cliff, just wasn't actually the case. And K'Sante still just does K'Sante things, forces people to type Riot in the chat over and over again.
Yeah, the main thing is he doesn't solo bolo people like constantly anymore.
Yeah, true.
And that is good, but he still is a very skill-intensive tank, and we've seen players from Dundun to Zeus be able to find big angles. King and of course also getting POG in the previous game.
You need to know the K'Sante is a new champ.
Exactly right. And I think we're very close to getting towards the POG. Any ideas? Is it going to be Goomer? Is it going to be Carrier? Let's have a look and find out who it's going to be. It is Carrier that picks it up on the Nami. Absolutely amazing. And I think this was more of a focus on the early game that Carrier set up. And I think it was Gumayushi that really sent it to the stand.
Yeah, you're never going to complain about a Carrier PG build because he's crazy. He's insanely good, and his Nami is one of the big reasons I think why T1 is so happy to prioritize this Lucian Nami lane.
Yeah, I mean also I think the Gumayushi, like we voted Gumayushi, but the thing is like he had a probably 2 deaths, which is like it was necessary. Honestly, it was a necessary death.
Yeah,
like it wasn't a fault from him, but Carrier had a perfect game. I think that was a.
It's hard.
It's a pretty
hard to argue.
If you see the KDA, I think it's pretty tough to say.
Yeah, 1,100 POG points for Carrier. POG of the season has been won with less, and we're actually going to see the tiebreaker being broken on this desk between, I believe it was, Gumayushi and Carrier there. So a lot of people just getting votes across the board, even some votes coming in for Faker as well.
Actually, it's Faker and
Faker
Carrier
and Carrier. Yeah. I can't count. Doing counting on broadcast, a difficult thing to accomplish. But in the end, it was Carrier that was able to pick it up. Faker very, very close. Mao not actually part of the problem this time around, so don't come for him if you did think that Faker deserved it. Let's throw it back to the casters to bring us our final game of the day.
Thank you, Spacers, for that wonderful breakdown as we are getting ready to hop into game number 3.
I would never say Chronicler is part of the problem. Okay.
Never.
It's a split. No. It's a split vote. But he didn't vote for Faker, so. I did because I thought Faker's control of those last fights was really important. Although I thought overall consistently Carrier had the best game up until the end. There were some hiccups there. But those were the 2 for me. Ended up being a tie between the 2, but broken by the desk as always. And as the Space mentioned, red side again for HLE. And I think this is because it seems like T1 are just going to play Lucian all 3 games. And I think that HLE are willing to play against us. Maybe we'll see a different variant this time if the Draven is once again banned.
Yeah.
We might see the Apelios Thresh variant this 3rd time around for HLE. And then having those counter picks is so critical for how HLE wants to draft. So let's see. The bans are going to look the same so far. The Draven once again gone. And I mean, Lucian is so strong in Guma's hands right now, and they've played it so well, and it's gotten them 2 amazing early games. So I don't think T1 has any reason to change it. This time Rakan is banned.
Karma's open. So now, I mean, you open yourself up to various Karma lanes, such as, Varus Karma. Could be another response here on the side of Halma Life if they want to go for that.
Yeah, looks like that's what they're thinking. They pick up the jungle first. It'll be Varus. They'll pick up, instead of the Ezreal here for Viper, having some additional CC here is what he would prefer, it looks like, rather than some additional long-term damage in fights. Oh, last second swaps to Zeri.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Vi coming through now as well. We're going old school here. And considering, to be fair, even though Zeri has a very low win rate in this matchup right now, it has been very tough on this patch. considering that this game state that T1 has led with in games 1 and 2 has still gotten to a point where Viper's getting 2-3 items. We are going to a late game. Maybe he just feels confident that he can survive the pressure here once again with his buy pick for Clit. Best pick of the season. And then get to a point where you can actually carry late game team fights. It's going to be the Azir that gets prioritized over the Lee Sin. So jungle lockout incoming here.
Yeah. Lulu makes sense. Zeri Lulu. Lucian Nami. Zeri Lulu.
You need to play around the Lulu in the lane or you will not be able to survive this area against Lucian, period. So you can't try to grab a Kali here and be like, oh, we got a counter matchup for the Azir. So now T1 can at least protect the Azir pick here a little bit against Zeka. But things like the Lee Sin definitely going to get tossed into the second banning phase here for HLE.
Yeah, Lee Sin's got to go, I think. Should be number 1. Besides that, you know, Wukong going to be looked at.
So good into Vi. Talia, which has actually been the new age response to the Azir. We saw it in game 1. Banned first before the Akali is taken off. Even though Zeka is so famed for his Akali play, the Space was talking about it before, just isn't working right now in this meta. Lee Sin, I mean, you don't have to play it with this T1 composition, but I would give Owner less tools, you know? Just ban it.
There's a lot of thought that went into that. Maybe they're just considering their pick, you know? It felt like, why not? You know, it's Owner. Take away his Lee Sin. Just do it, you know? So they are going to ban away the Lee Sin.
Now, if Sylas is left up here, they ban the Akali instead. HLE can, for example, pick Jax and then say, are you going to play Gnar into that when I have Sylas available? Becomes very awkward, becomes very difficult for T1. I think the Sylas ban is what I'd go for, but they're going to take away the Akali instead. So Jax becomes really strong here because it works extremely well with Lulu, works extremely well with side laning to get the Zeri to a point in the game where she can survive, or rather, get her to a point where she can scale, but is pushing the opposite side of these objectives. Victor, though, for Zeka, wow, not a pick he's known to play, not a pick he's very good at compared to others in this league.
Yeah, he's played it once, 0-1 for Spring, and Victor overall has not had a good win rate. I would imagine it doesn't have a great win rate into Azir either, because that's where it gets picked very often, right? So either way, let's see if it works out for him. I was kind of on the train with you, as maybe a Xin Zhao would be a long time since we've seen that in the LCK.
And this is why I thought picking up Jax here could have been quite nice. Is Gnar into it very common, but would have had the opportunity to pick the Sylas. As Gnar is locked in, we still know what this pick is going to be for Owner. Looks very uncomfortable with this game state. It doesn't want to play an AP jungler. Now, this is one he's pulled out a lot in these types of best of threes.
Pulling out the stops, I guess. This is very interesting.
If we can see another Sylas top in this series.
Maybe it's Victor top.
Could be. It's been a very long time, but Crown Victor top can be quite strong. Good for side laning.
Our dreams are crushed.
Yeah, it's going to be Cassante again here into the Gnar. A matchup that Gnar was picked before Cassante's nerfs into as a counter. This is Zeus' Gnar. This is his debut pick, one that he got very famous for early on in his career. And you've opted into this because you wanted to pick the Victor. We will have to see if Zeka's Victor performances have improved here because he is playing against the King of Azir 100 games on this pick now.
Yeah.
This was his 100th game.
This one right here.
And now Zeka is tested again in a different way. We talked about it in game 1. The Talia pick. How deep is this guy's champion pool going to go? Can he improve on these slower control mages when he's not playing an assassin? Once again, he's tested. He won in game 1 on the Talia pick. And he's going to have to do it again here on this Victor if HLE are going to take 2 series in a row against T1 to be the only team that beat them twice this season. Everything's coming together here. But I got to tell you, Lucian again, Zeus is Gnar into Cassante. I feel very confident in what T1 has put together.
Yeah, very true. I think that they will just try to get through the lane and say, okay, let's see if King can carry team fights later on. Because remember, they were winning team fights from down gold, from situations you wouldn't expect them to win them. So he must be very comfortable on the pick today. As this guy on the left's going to the army in 2 days.
Came for a banger night of League of Legends, that's for sure.
What a present. Hanma fan here.
CFE will be rewarded for showing up as owner brings back out the Nocturne. There are so many great ways to snowball this game and to set up engages. All about scaling here on the side of HLE.
Absolutely. They have just gone into it so deep. As guys, we are ready. Into game 3 we go. Here we are. The Zeri and the Vi picked together, so that owner doesn't just pick the Vi. You know, Vi and Nautilus, the two where it's kind of just point and click ults. You would love to just click onto the Zeri and shut her down in team fights, so they deny both essentially because Lucian's already picked, so you're not going to play Lucian Nautilus.
Nope.
And so he goes for Nocturne instead. That's not a... It's not one you see oftentimes picked, but when you consider how it will have access to a backline and it will be able to zone away Zeri potentially in some of these team fights or a low mobility AP mage like a Victor, you begin to see the lines here for T1.
The ability to point and click collapse on a Zeri is so incredibly powerful. In the ability to turn the lights off and gank assist from like anywhere basically on the map post 6. You can set up for an Emperor's Divide without being seen, without being spotted, as we're going to see the early trade here. That was very well played by Viper, but still, you know, it is level 1. No barrier used.
Yeah.
See if they try to all in at level 2.
Heal used by Guma and Karya. They want to stay healthy so that they can stay in the lane, so that they can try to push for level 2, but they're not going to get ahead of Zeri and Lulu. Oh. Just ain't the way it goes.
Not this time. Big damage there for that poke from Guma. And this is one of those lanes where you hold your breath. With these 4 players down here, you know action hits at level 2. And here it comes.
Yep. As looking for the Glitter Lance is going to kind of hit Ignite used here onto Viper, as he will also use the barrier. And this is why we approach the Zeri with kind of
it's
hesitation.
It's a matchup where there have been some nerfs, right? And there is a level 2 all-in potential, but it played well, and the Glitter Lances don't hit.